The South China Sea is a region of immense strategic and economic importance. Its waters are a vital artery for global trade. Beneath the surface lie potentially vast reserves of oil and natural gas. This maritime area has become a focal point for tensions between China and several Southeast Asian nations, including the Philippines. At the heart of the dispute are overlapping territorial claims and China's increasing assertiveness in enforcing its claims. This has led to a complex and potentially volatile situation in the region. The United States has a vested interest in ensuring a free and open Indo-Pacific region. The U.S. military regularly conducts freedom of navigation operations in the South China Sea. These operations challenge China's expansive maritime claims. Countries like Japan, Australia, and India are also concerned about China's growing influence. They have been strengthening their security ties with each other and with countries in Southeast Asia. The United States and the Philippines share a long history of alliance and cooperation. This relationship is underpinned by the 1951 Mutual Defense Treaty. This treaty commits both nations to come to each other's aid in the event of an armed attack. In the context of the South China Sea dispute, the treaty serves as a clear signal of the U.S. commitment to defending the Philippines against aggression. The Mutual Defense Treaty has been invoked on several occasions throughout history. It demonstrates the strength and durability of the U.S.-Philippine alliance. The U.S. has repeatedly reaffirmed its commitment to the treaty. This commitment serves as a deterrent to potential aggressors and helps to maintain stability in the region. The treaty also provides a framework for extensive security cooperation between the U.S. and the Philippines. In recent years, China has adopted an increasingly assertive posture in the South China Sea. It has engaged in actions that directly challenge the sovereignty of the Philippines and other claimant states. Chinese Coast Guard vessels have been accused of harassing and intimidating Filipino fishing boats operating within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone. These actions are seen as a violation of international law and a direct challenge to the Philippines' sovereign rights. The harassment of Filipino fishermen has had a significant impact on the livelihoods of these communities. Many are now afraid to fish in certain areas for fear of being confronted by Chinese vessels. The Philippines has lodged numerous diplomatic protests against China's actions. However, these protests have largely been ignored by China, which continues to assert its claims in the region. The tensions in the South China Sea escalated dramatically in 2023 following an incident in which a Chinese Coast Guard vessel intentionally rammed a Filipino resupply ship. The incident occurred near Second Thomas Shoal, a feature within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone. The Chinese vessel's actions were widely condemned as reckless and dangerous, raising fears of a potential military confrontation between the two countries. The ramming incident highlighted the growing risk of miscalculation and escalation in the South China Sea. It demonstrated the willingness of China to use force to assert its claims, even if it means endangering the lives of others. The incident also underscored the need for clear communication channels and crisis management mechanisms between China and the Philippines. The lack of such mechanisms increases the risk of misunderstandings and unintended consequences. The United States has responded to tensions in the South China Sea with diplomacy, military deployments, and strengthened alliances. The U.S. opposes any unilateral attempts by China to change the status quo. It reaffirms its commitment to freedom of navigation and overflight, vital to global trade and security. The U.S. has increased its military presence, conducting more frequent operations and joint exercises with allies. These exercises demonstrate interoperability and send a clear message of deterrence to China. The Philippines faces a delicate balancing act in the South China Sea. On the one hand, it is determined to assert its sovereignty and protect its maritime rights. On the other hand, it recognizes the economic and military might of China and seeks to avoid direct confrontation. This has led the Philippines to pursue a multi-pronged approach, combining diplomacy, law enforcement, and strengthened partnerships with countries like the United States. The Philippines has sought to strengthen its law enforcement capabilities in the South China Sea, deploying more patrol vessels and aircraft to monitor its waters and respond to Chinese incursions. It has also sought to raise international awareness of the issue, taking its case to international tribunals and seeking support from other countries. The Philippines has also sought to strengthen its defense capabilities, modernizing its armed forces and seeking closer military cooperation with countries like the United States, Japan, and Australia. These partnerships are seen as essential for deterring Chinese aggression and defending the Philippines' interests in the South China Sea. The Philippines has repeatedly called for greater international action to address China's assertive behavior in the South China Sea. It argues that China's actions threaten not only the Philippines' sovereignty, but also regional peace and stability. The Philippines has urged the international community to condemn China's actions, support the Philippines' legal claims, and uphold international law in the region. The Philippines has sought to rally international support for its position through diplomatic channels, bringing its case to international tribunals and seeking support from other countries. It argues that China's actions violate international law, particularly the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS. The Philippines has also called for greater cooperation among countries with shared interests in the South China Sea. This includes joint patrols, military exercises, and intelligence sharing. The Philippines believes that a united front is essential for deterring Chinese aggression and upholding a rules-based order in the region. Recognizing the growing threat posed by China's assertive actions, the Philippines has placed a high priority on strengthening its military deterrence capabilities. This includes modernizing its armed forces, increasing defense spending, and seeking closer military cooperation with allies like the United States. The Philippines believes that a credible military deterrent is essential for discouraging Chinese aggression and protecting its interests in the South China Sea. The Philippines has embarked on a long-term modernization program for its armed forces. This includes acquiring new weapons systems, upgrading existing equipment, and improving training and readiness. The goal is to enhance the Philippines' ability to defend its territory and deter potential adversaries. The Philippines has also sought to strengthen its military cooperation with allies like the United States, Japan, and Australia. This includes joint patrols, military exercises, and intelligence sharing. These partnerships are seen as crucial for deterring Chinese aggression and providing the Philippines with the necessary military support in times of crisis. China's claims in the South China Sea are based on historical precedent and its 9-dash line. These claims are disputed by the Philippines and other Southeast Asian nations and rejected by an international tribunal. China has engaged in land reclamation, building artificial islands, and militarizing them. China's actions have raised serious concerns among its neighbors and the international community. Many view China's behavior as a threat to regional peace and stability. The situation in the South China Sea remains tense and volatile, with the potential for miscalculation and escalation. It is in the interests of all parties involved to find a peaceful and durable solution to the dispute. This will require dialogue, diplomacy, and a commitment to upholding international law. Dialogue and diplomacy are essential for building trust, reducing tensions, and finding common ground. All parties involved need to engage in constructive dialogue with the aim of reaching a mutually acceptable solution. This will require flexibility, compromise, and a willingness to address each other's concerns. International law, particularly UNCLOS, provides a framework for resolving maritime disputes peacefully. The international community has a role to play in supporting a peaceful resolution to the South China Sea dispute. The South China Sea stands as a critical juncture in international affairs. It represents a testing ground for the principles of sovereignty, freedom of navigation, and the rule of law. The actions of China, the Philippines, the United States, and other regional actors will have far-reaching consequences, shaping the future of the Indo-Pacific and the broader international order. The stakes in the South China Sea are high. The region is not only vital for global trade, but also home to important fishing grounds and potential energy resources. Moreover, the dispute has the potential to escalate into a military conflict with devastating consequences for the region and the world. Finding a peaceful resolution to the South China Sea dispute is essential for ensuring peace, stability, and prosperity in the Indo-Pacific. The future of the South China Sea, and indeed the broader international order, depends on it.